and civil engineering, amongst a number of other areas. Duana is also the owner of Tech Queen Systems, which serves clients in the international gospel organizations, conventions, healthcare, hotel gaming, such as where we are today, social and political organizations. Duana currently serves as the Director of Technology and a national leader in the custom assembly, packaging, and fulfillment services for Aldelano Packaging Corporation, and that's what she's going to present to us today. A very exciting and interesting opportunity, and it's my privilege to introduce Duana Malone.
Thank you for that introduction, Mr. Haggerty, and I want to say thank you to Craig and Catalina and to everyone that have come together to make this summit the success that it is. Good morning to each and every one of you. I'm excited to be here. I'm actually also excited that Catalina brought up some of what we're going to be talking about today in reference to the disasters that has happened recently. And as I pull up this PowerPoint, I can't help but hear the voices of Mayor Cruz in Puerto Rico. And also I can see still in my mind from just not even over a month ago, I can see in my mind Congresswoman Sheila Jackson Lee with a cry out for help for the state of Texas. I can also hear my friend just last week in British Virgin Islands say they're going to be without power for 9 months, even though they have military over there helping them from the British, from Europe as well. And my friend in U.S., and my friend in BVI is in the government there, and they're going to be 9 months without power. I have another colleague in the U.S. Virgin Islands who is working with United Way, or rather I should say United Way is helping them to recover from what they have recently experienced as well, and going again without electricity. I can literally still hear and see these voices, and I can't help but not just empathize, but I can't help but share the importance and passion on what we're going to be exploring today. And as Catalina said, we're going to talk about some options that are available out there so we can kind of get out of a box and really even explore some of the possibilities. And I'm going to do that in just a few minutes of your time with asking a few questions. As Mr. Haggerty said, I'm standing before you, and the technology that we're going to share is about Aldelano Solar Cold Chain Solutions. And just to tell you a snippet about Aldelano, they started back in 1968, and their experience has been in refrigeration and packaging for some of your Fortune 50 companies and all your Kellogg's and Pop-Tarts and Pringles and Sunny Delight. So all this experience that they have gained over working on the grid and with solutions for cold storage, and the last few years with recognizing all of the disasters that are going on around the world, recognize there is a need for change. So some of the questions, the first question in this presentation before I share a video with you is if only. I'm gonna attack if only, those simple 2 words that I'm sure are being discussed in boardrooms across every area that have already experienced disaster. I'm sure some are asking themselves, if only I had either better prepared, or if only I had explored other solutions, if only I had looked at alternative energy, if only I had figured out a way to prevent even one loss of life. Because yes, even one loss of life is way too many lives to be lost over something as simple as not having proper electricity or cold drinking water. Yes, even in the United States, clean drinking water, refrigeration, because the power has gone down. And many in this room are familiar with even the East Coast power outage years ago, and just that small experience of disaster. Those 2 words, if only. And I'm going to ask you to think about these words as I go through the presentation. If only I begin to explore other options and other technologies that I may have not even considered because I might be in a box. If only I could look at solar energy and on-grid solutions and off-grid solutions and other, again, cold chain solutions that can help sustain life. And look at this word, resilience. Now many people are wondering, how quickly can we recover from a disaster? You see here the definition of resilience is simply the capacity to recover quickly from difficulties or toughness, and some are even scratching their head because, to be honest, as many of us, some have not even thought about the reality of a disaster actually happening. Oh no, it couldn't happen in Las Vegas. Oh no, it couldn't happen in Houston, Texas. Oh no, not in my area. Of course we will never have a cyber attack on our grid. Of course, no, this is the United States of America. Some maybe be confined to that box that we're gonna talk about exploring outside of this morning. If only. It has ... there because we want to challenge some of you in this room that if only my ratepayers would think about ... If only in my planning period of this energy choice ... You fill in the blanks. This is your story and how you begin to answer these questions, because in all honesty, it's really the question you decide, am I going to answer the question after the fact or before the fact in preparation? The choice is yours also for your ratepayers and your customers and even yourselves. We're going to talk about less waste, more energy, even off the grid, is what this video we're going to explore in just a moment. That was the first question. Now the second question, before I show this video, that really gives you a picture image of the technology that I'm going to share, that if this technology was in place day one of when the disasters happened, so many lives would have been saved. So many difficulties that businesses have experienced, yes, commercial use, which is what this is designed for, hospitals and even unfortunately the mortuaries, because you need, of course, refrigeration in those areas we don't like to talk about. You need refrigeration even in the event of disaster. You still need cold storage, and if you don't have electricity, of course, diseases in other parts of the disaster would now begin to affect the entire community. What once was tens and hundreds and thousands, now millions of people affected. The next question, if we continue to do what we've always done, ... Again, that's a fill in the blank, because that is for us to kind of wonder in this musing session this morning, that if we continue to do, you all know the planning that you have in place for your clients or your ratepayers, and what are all of the planning stages of the companies that you look at as it relates to energy, and we begin to ask ourselves, and I'm just telling you a question that this company I've witnessed even asked themselves, that's been in business for 50 years, and ask this question: if we continue to do what we've always done, ... in our case is, how would we have an alternative energy solution for in the event of a disaster? And if they continue to do what they've always done, unfortunately, the way the world is moving and the way that the way that the industry is moving, they would definitely get left behind. And so this second important question had to be asked by Aldelano in terms of, if we continue to do what we've always done, where are they going to be, and how would they really be impacting the world with this revolutionary, robust commercial technology that is being used today? I'm going to pause for a moment, because again, on the what if you could reduce food spoilage and waste in the event that you didn't have electricity? What if on the grid, what if you could preserve life-saving medicines and create a limitless supply of drinking water, and all while generating auxiliary power anywhere in the world? The solution is at hand, and this dream has become true with the Aldelano solar cobots. I'm going to show you a video that will show this innovative technology. I wish we could have had the Star Wars theme that we were going to come out here with and turn off the lights, and they talked about me coming in a costume, and we talked about all this last night. I wish we could do that. So if you just imagine in your mind, even because it feels like we're coming from another galaxy when you understand the concept of creating clean water, electricity from the air without electricity, completely off the grid, thousands of gallons. I'm not talking about a little bit. I know the technology in residential and they've been experimenting, but we're talking about sub 10, below 0 degrees of freezing ice and water, thousands of gallons per day, enough to have an entire village not go thirsty, enough to feed an entire city if they had the cold storage that does not require electricity. This is a game changer for the universe. Gonna direct your attention to the solar cold box. What if Congresswoman Lee in Texas, they all said one word that was the same, and that word simply was help. We're here to help by sharing this technology and expanding your thinking out of the box to show you other innovative technology that is out there. That word help keep ringing in my ear as well, because I know that there is technology that exists. This technology is no longer a dream, it is a reality. I thank you for your attention. I'm going to close with a summary of the 3 questions that we ask that you begin to ask yourself. The first question, if only, ... The second one, if I were to continue doing the same thing that I've always done, what would the end result be? And the part B of that is, am I going to be proactive or reactive? Am I going to be acting on resilience, or I'm going to be acting on preventative maintenance? And the last question is simply, what if? ... Thank you so much for your time and attention to this presentation. You all have handouts on your table that's titled Aldelano Solar Cold Chain Solutions. If there's any additional information that you request. I understand there's Q&A. Is that now? Okay, just now. Okay, so I understand that it's Q&A as well if there's any questions. There's been a lot of time.
Could you tell me where some of your systems have been deployed in the United States?
Absolutely.
Where they're actively functioning and assisting in a disaster situation?
Absolutely, and thank you so much, Commissioner Aaron, and I want to say thank you also for all of your insight last night. Some of the places that the Aldelano Solar Cold Box, even in their beta testing as well as the box unit itself, has been and is in our manufacturing location, which is in Nashville, Tennessee, also in Idlewild, California. We also, believe it or not, brought it here in Las Vegas, Nevada, in terms of showcasing and beta testing and introducing the technology here. And currently, third world nations right now that they're working with in Nigeria and all over, but particularly for the U.S., just to stick to the question, Nashville, Tennessee, I know Michigan, Grand Rapids, we have a site location there with Aldelano. We also have, Katrina, our founder of Aldelano Solar Cold Box, has actually visited Louisiana after the hurricane and Katrina. They actually were down there in Texas as well. And they're in talks and negotiations right now with Puerto Rico and U.S. Virgin Islands, so it's not deployed there yet. We're actually talking to FEMA contacts as well to be a support for the current disasters that are happening right now. But it's been beta tested in various states, and of course they're working with several nations. We're actually working with the United States Department of Commerce under the Gold Key program, for those that are familiar with that. So our teams are dispatched all around the world, not limited to the USA. And we've been working with them for a couple years now, and they've been sending our team all over the place. In fact, our COO is in Spain as we speak right now. So, yes, sir.
The difference in water output is, it must be dramatically better in, say, India, Pakistan, Thailand, places where the humidity is higher. And what I understand is you can still get water even in an environment like this. This is low humidity, and I think the output is, what's the difference for like a dry climate versus a very humid climate?
That is a great question, and disclaimer, I'm not an engineer, but I've been around them long enough to answer that question. And it's, as long as the humidity level is over 60 degrees. However, there is a technology, and I was sharing briefly last night, I'm not at disclosure, I'm not at liberty to share right now, but there is a technology that our engineers are working on, which come from NASA, by the way, that are working on right now that you don't even need solar panel. It's an exciting, you don't even need solar, so there is no limitation. Humidity, none of that matters on this new technology that they're working on as we speak. And it is gonna blow everybody away. I mean, just stay tuned, I'm sure on the website, what have you. Has not been thought of. We've talked to and been in meetings with even the universities here and Desert Research and all of that, and some of the conversations that we're having. This new technology is going to blow everyone in here out the water. I can't say what it is right now, but to answer your question, yes, the humidity levels works best at over 60 degrees and higher in terms of that. So there are locations. However, that is simply for the water maker. But of course, we have the solar cobalt, your refrigeration, the electricity, all of that that's off the grid, which does not have those constraints. But stay tuned.
I've seen it where even in a very dry environment, that type of technology is still put out at least a couple gallons, or it won't be the same 50 gallons, but it could be 5 gallons, it could be 7 gallons. Pretty impressive. Very impressive.
And I would add to that, there's a company even up north, I believe they're in Reno, that residential, they offer it at a residential level. And so what this company has done, which has really been revolutionary and innovative, is figured out a way to produce thousands of gallons per day. That's the game changer as well, because that's enough to, like I say, you can give an entire village, as well as, this has never been figured out yet, but they did, under 10 degrees of Fahrenheit, producing ice as well, freezing temperatures, 10 below zero, and you'll see that in your package as well. They have pounds, I think it's 32,000 pounds of ice per day as well. So, and of course, that's a key part of all the 40% plus waste that goes, just wasted of food because they can't preserve it. Well, now, of course, there's that answer. What used to be a dream in the galaxy, Star Wars, is now a reality. Any other questions? Yes.
Chris Hendricks with Walmart. So one of the questions is how much solar is required to run a box? And then also talk about how you set it up. So do you need an electrician? Is it kind of plug and play so anybody can set it up?
That's a great question. I knew Walmart would ask me a question like that. I knew I would get that question. But I can answer that as well. And it's in your panel. There's about 36 panels. And again, it depends on what you get, because even though in the video they had 40-foot containers, we have 12, we have 20 and 40. So depending on which size you get, so it's not a one answer fit all. However, I can say as much as 36 solar panels required, and then all of the specs. I know it's so small for you to read on there, but I would be more than happy to, if you, let me pull up my last slide here. It has my contact information. If you email on this last slide, here we go. If you email or text that number, I can give you specific specs. Based on the need, they would have more specs in terms of how many panels are needed, what all is needed. But to answer your question about the setup, it is designed for plug and play. There is no maintenance that's required. However, they do have a training for whoever is going to be on site, depending on where they're dispatching those to throughout the world, where they're exporting them to. It's designed to be so simple that, to answer your question, you do not have to be an engineer or anyone to be able to run the units. So that's the simple answer to that. It's designed to be a plug and play. And we do have power packs as well. So there's smaller even units of the power packs that are designed to be even for commercial use, that ideally energy companies can resell that basically, and you sell it to your ratepayers or however you work that out. But there's programs and systems in place that you have flexibility and options, and there's not just one size. But hopefully did that answer your question? Okay, perfect. Thank you. I can exhale now. Thank you. Like, where are those engineering questions? Oh, okay. Now, and again, same as my friend here from Walmart, the answer is I can give you ranges. ranges, because again, they're commercial use, and depending on the size, and depending on the specs, and depending on if you're getting the water maker, or the cold box, or the refrigeration, the storage unit, it ranges anywhere from 30,000 to 100,000 or so per unit, so it just depends. And then you can go lower from there if you're getting just the small. They have now a backpack. Every day, our scientists and engineers are in there. They keep coming out with innovative technology. Used to be just the 40-foot, then it went to the 12. Then because of demand, the 20, and then the 12. And now your power pack. And now the backpack. We showcased at the Clean Energy Summit, National Clean Energy Summit, just 2 weeks ago at Bellagio Hotel. We had the power pack, just the small power pack, what we call our smallest unit. So it depends. So hopefully that gives you a range. But again, if you contact that number, depending on the need and the size and what you get, of course, as with anything, would determine price structure. But it is for commercial use, I will say that. That's also the difference. It's not for residential, it's for your hospitals, it's for your mortuaries, it's for all of your larger commercial organizations. Those that would be affected the most, government, of course, military, everybody, that would be impacted should there be a disaster. Any other questions? Oh, yes. Hi, good morning. That's,
You also mentioned, and sometimes we also, I see there's it's called humanitarian relief as well, and very often there's not even proper roadways to get from the unit, bring food from the unit to the actual habitat of people living. So how do you have a strategy, what's the solution for that in many ways?
and that's awesome. And yes, our team has been working. In fact, we even met with Nellis Air Force Base here. We're working with government agencies. There are ways in terms of getting it where the infrastructure is not completely in-stretched, whether it's by air or however. That's part of why they developed even smaller units, so that it could be easier to transport them and get them into places where they're needed. We're working out the logistics even now for where the ports are open, and even British Virgin Islands. We're working out all of those logistics as well, because as you say, yes, some of the disasters have affected a lot of the infrastructure, and they kept that in mind when developing all of these strategies and new systems, like I say, every day, because you have to look at all of these real situations that are going on, and all of that is taken into consideration. So again, to answer your question, that's why they have the backpack. I don't know if I said that one. I know I said the solar pack, but you have your backpack and your power pack. So a lot of these are being smaller units that can still do the job for getting the